Hey, it's Christina with Bohemian Babe Travels. And you know, you don't have to go to Asia or Africa to see remarkable animals that once flourished there. Unfortunately, while their habitats are diminishing, so are their populations. So whether it's losing their homes or being poached, I feel that if everybody had a chance to witness these magnificent animals, that more would be done to protect them. So this is why we are going to the wilds today, where conservation is key. Hey, I'm in Cumberland, Ohio, at North America's largest conservation facility known as the Wilds. So we are surrounded by 10,000 acres of reclaimed coal mine land, and amazing things are happening here. So we've got butterfly habitats, we've got bird watching stations, we've got hiking and biking trails, we've got 150 lakes on site. You can even stay overnight. The Wilds is home to rare and endangered animals, including zebras and cheetahs, rhinos, toucans, giraffes. The list goes on and on. It also happens to be one of my favorite places in the United States. Got Dan Beadham here with us. He's going to be our guide for the day. So Dan, what are some of the things that we are going to see?
Well, it's winter at the Wilds. So a lot of our animals are inside for the wintertime. The rhinos, the giraffes, we'll be able to stop by and visit the rhino herd, obviously, and then stop by the giraffe barn. We'll also take a spin out through pasture, see some of the animals that spend their winters outside who don't care about Ohio winters. Okay. And have a look at that and talk a little bit more about what we do out here and what our programs are, what we're trying to accomplish and what we're able to do out here with the support of all the people who come to visit us.
Awesome, and this is the place where conservation is key.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's go. We're going to have an adventure today.
So we have actually two different types of giraffes here. So you can see the two girls in the back with the splotchy pattern or Maasai giraffe.
Okay.
And then Raha, the bull here, is also a Maasai. The two boys up front here are just generic, like reticulated giraffes. So you can see the difference in the spot pattern.
Yeah.
And depending on who you talk to, there are 9 different subspecies of giraffe.
9 different ones?
Yeah. And wow. I've seen it divided more than that.
Yeah.
But right now, that's generally accepted as there's 9 different types. A couple of them are endangered now.
What's this one's name?
That's Johnson.
Hey, Johnson. Hey, baby. Hi. You got it? Oh, there you go. Aww. And you said their vision is their...
They're very, very, very visually acute, very, very aware visually. Hey, big guy. Tuffy here's the rock star.
I think Tuffy might be the one we saw last time. So. Yeah. Hi, baby doll. Hi, Tuffy.
Yeah. He's not shy.
Do they prefer a certain side, or
Nope.
it doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
No, nice
Doesn't
repeat.
matter. But this is great because a lot of people, you know, you don't get kind of this opportunity to be this close to one. And so even in the summertime, the wild side tours out in pasture from the truck, several of the giraffes will come right over to the truck.
Oh, they will?
When you're out there in pasture, and so you can be right up next to them. There you go. But to be able to see that, you know, the fact that that tongue can reach out 18 to 20 inches and grab a hold of something.
Yeah. Should I do it? Yeah.
Sure.
There you go. Wow, look at you. Look at you. So how tall is this guy here?
Probably about 15 feet.
About 15 feet?
Yeah, yeah.
And how tall do they get? Is 15 about it? Or
No, there's males that go like 18.
18?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But I think one of the things that people really don't understand is that a lot of our giraffe populations in the wild are actually in danger. They're declining. We're seeing a lot, the numbers going down over the past few years. Some of the different groups are officially listed as endangered species now. The others are threatened and vulnerable. So we're very concerned about them. We want people to be aware that there are people poaching giraffes and killing giraffes, and not only that, but giraffes just losing habitat, losing places to live. And so we're very concerned about that. We want to make sure that people understand that giraffes are a conservation concern like a lot of other animals that we work with. Everything we do for conservation, whether it's recycling, watching the water we use, all those kinds of things that affect habitat all over the world are important. And so you may not think about it, but being able to make sure that you're keeping recyclable materials out of the regular waste stream is going to help animals all over the world. Talking really interesting animals. They're in the goat family. Technically a goat antelope, but goat family. And one of the things that it means is they're smart. They, will work on things for a while. They're determined. There's the deer. They were over here when we were here up at the Nomad Ridge. The deer interact with other deer. So like the males during rut may fight with each other, but you don't typically see them fight with each other. I mean, if you've seen some of the old cave paintings, this is what horses look like in the old cave paintings. These little short, stocky things. And so this is pretty much the kind of typical what you think of as a original horse. This is our brand new white rhino barn that was just finished last year, and this is our white rhino herd. So there's 12 animals in here right now, and 11 of these animals were all born here at the Wilds and grew up here. So part of this really amazing rhino breeding program that we've got going on here.
Wow, these guys are massive. They're huge. Look at these guys. It's like nap time.
So this whole group here, I've got Roscoe in the corner. Every single one of these rhinos was born here.
Really?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that really makes this unique, is that we've got the only white rhino herd that has 4th and 5th generation animals from the wild.
Yeah.
And so we've got, in this group right now, there is a grandmother, a mother, and a kid. So there's 3 generations here.
That's awesome.
And
that is awesome.
And as I said, this whole group, every single one was born here and grew up here. In the early 1900s, there were just a handful of these animals left in South Africa, and it's only through some real intensive conservation work by the South African people that these guys are even still around.
And it sounds like it, that could very easily happen again at the rate they're being killed.
Yeah, absolutely. There's about 20,000 rhinos in South Africa now, and the concern is the poaching pressure is going to increase to the point where that population will start to decline again. And it hasn't happened yet, but we're certainly right at the edge of that happening. And it's, again, why we're trying to make sure people are aware and increase education about this and make people aware of groups like the International Rhino Foundation, who are really dedicated to rhino conservation around the world.
Because I think we talked earlier, and you had mentioned, I think you said it was the northern rhino.
There's a northern white rhino. There's only 3 left of that particular subspecies. And those animals literally have armed guards standing with them 24 hours a day to protect them. And unfortunately, that population those animals will not breed. There's some really interesting efforts in the San Diego Zoo using some great technology to try to see if they can resurrect that subspecies. But in the end, there's not enough left to really be able to think about saving. And we really need to make sure that we can look out for all rhinos, and take that as a lesson.
Because when they're gone, they're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Yep. In the past 10, 12 years, poaching numbers have increased in South Africa to the point where it's getting up to words of essentially there's a rhino being killed every 6 hours.
Every 6 hours?
Every 6 hours. So the downside of that, obviously, is they think there's going to hit a point, and it seems to have steadied off a little bit, but they're very afraid we're going to hit a point where the population was going to start to decline, that reproduction couldn't keep up with what the poachers were taking out. And at the moment, it seems to have hit kind of a balance, but it's still an incredible concern, that number of animals, and they're being taken out of reserves, they're being taken out of national parks. It's pretty amazing. Wildlife crime is right up there with guns, drugs, human trafficking. Wildlife crime is right up there in terms of money internationally.
I think it's easy to say that we all play a part in this world, no matter how big or small. As we have seen today at the Wilds, conservation is key, and the team here is incredibly dedicated to providing a home for these creatures that reside here to grow in a healthy environment. From salamanders to giraffes to rhinos, no life here is too small to protect. Once these species are gone, they are gone. A major thanks to Dan and the amazing staff at the Wilds for all that they do. On our way out, Dan left us with a great message of how we can help animals like these. We have the power to change and inspire by everyday decisions we make and creating awareness everywhere we go. I'm Christina Grozick. Travel light, my friends.